Hey guys, Mel the Train Shooter here again with another experiment for you. Now life's a little bit hectic at the minute, especially I'm still looking after my wife and it's half term here in the UK, which means all the kids are off. And on top of that I'm working on actually 3 separate tutorials, 2 hill ones and 1 on swamps. But I've lost the drainage valve out of the bottom of my compressor and so I can't paint them. See, there's all sorts of wonderful stuff. I'll very quickly pan the camera up, see? Yeah, but I can't paint them until I get me my drainage valve, and that's got to come from Germany. So yeah, I'm using what little time I have to sort of just do a little bit more work on this flocking stuff. Now before we jump into this and what this video is about, yeah, quick follow up on our last one. Yeah, there you go. That stuff is rock hard, absolutely rock hard. Trying to get the flock off the rubber on that texture board is nigh on impossible. Okay, literally it's really impressive and I'm going to carry on experimenting with that. Yeah, a lot of people have been asking me what it's like and that sort of stuff, you know, I thought I'd do a quick follow up. But anyway, this experiment, what we're going to do is, one of the guys, I can't remember your name, sorry, but one of the guys on the comments said, I use paint to glue my flock down. Yeah, and I remember, yeah, I'd done it once as a teenager, yeah, with not great results, and I've seen a few other people do it, so I thought, well, okay, let's give it a run and have a look at it, you know, and actually compare it to PVA and that sort of stuff, because obviously, yeah, if you can use paint to glue down your flock, you're skipping out the gluing stage, you know, you're speeding the process up and reducing that PVA usage. So, what I've got here is, I've got our old test boards. Yeah, this afternoon I was sanding these. Now normally we make flock out of sawdust. Yeah, this afternoon I was making sawdust out of flock. Yeah, but basically cleaning them up for this project now. Yeah, you can see that nice, can't you? Is that okay for you? Yeah, that should do you. Right, so what have we got? Right, over here we have, I painted this dark brown. Yeah, and the reason for that is this one's going to have our PVA on and flock. Then over here what we're going to do is we're going to paint it dark brown and drop the flock straight on. And then over here what we're going to do is we're going to paint it with a mixture of paint and PVA and drop the flock straight down. And then we're going to leave it dry and actually have a look how it comes out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to crack on and get this flocked up and then get ready to paint these. And we'll skip through and you can follow the process. And then when it's all dry in the morning we'll have a proper look at it. Yeah, and see if it's actually a viable way of gluing flock over large areas, etc. So, I'm going to crack on with that now. Feel free to follow along. Here we go. Okay, that one's done. The next job we're going to do is we're going to paint this with a dark brown. Yeah, and this is standard emulsion paint. Yeah, it's just straight from Wilkinson's. Yeah, in the US you call this latex paint. Over in the UK we call it emulsion. Yeah, just standard household brown. Okay, and what I'm going to do is get my brush, paint it on, then I'm going to flock it in exactly the same way, shake off the excess, and then we'll come back. Okay, so that one's gone down. Immediately I can see a bit of the darker coming through. Yeah, but it still looks pretty damn good. Finally we're going to mix a little bit of PVA with a little bit of paint. Yeah, so I'm going to do this in a little tub, and what I'll do is I'll crack on with that now. So we'll skip it. I've just got to prep it. So I've got to clean my brush and everything. Well, yeah, I'll come back once that's all done and we're ready to mix the actual paint and that sort of stuff. Okay guys, that's all done now. So we've got our PVA here, our paint here, and our PVA and paint mix. And that was a very rough one. It was on the fly, but you know, it should be enough to give us an idea if it affects it. And it should. Mixing PVA into the paint should make it adhere better. But we'll see overall, you know, once it actually dries. So very quickly before we go, that one looks slightly darker than that one. That looks sort of mid-range. Okay, at the minute, but let's have a look at them in the morning. So, I'll see you in the morning, guys. Hey guys, so it's all dry now. It's a glorious day. Right, so what we got, once a quick reminder, that's simple PVA glue down over the paint base. That's stuck to just paint and that's stuck to PVA and paint. So very quickly, yeah, not much dropping off there. Right, so as we expected, PVA pretty solid. We know we're going to be able to rub quite a reasonable amount off if we sort of scrub at it, but it's a decent solid sort of what you're covering. Moving on to the paint. If I really go at it, as you can see, I can sort of get a bit off. Yeah, only a little. Let me bring that up so you can see. Do you see how much has actually come off there with the paint compared to the PVA? And then finally, if we go down, let's do the, what you call it? This is the paint and PVA mix, and it was a rough mix, but let's see how it's come out. That's really solid. That's up there with PVA, I'd say. Yeah, do you see it? There's a little, let me just bring it closer, there's a little bit of wearing off, but I really have to go at it. So that's actually quite interesting, okay? So paint and PVA, it definitely looks like a way of sort of skipping the gluing stage. Now obviously, it's only going to work if you're painting flat surfaces, because if you're painting textured surfaces, then there's dry brushing and that sort of stuff, and you're not going to get one even coat of paint to fix your PVA down to. Now there's one last little thing I want to do with this quickly, is I want to give it a quick soaking of watered down PVA, and this is probably about 1/3 PVA to 2/3 water, okay, with a little bit of washing up detergent in as a flow agent. Now all I want to do is, we already know that watered down PVA will stick this stuff solid from our previous experiments. All I want to do is just see if it reacts with the paint in any way and changes the colour or changes the patchiness, just to close this experiment off. So I'm going to do that now, and we'll come back once it's dry, guys. Okay guys, this is all dry now, and as you would expect, yeah, the watered down PVA has sealed all of them solid, yeah, and that's what we expected. We know watered down PVA does that. But what we wanted to do was just have a quick look at, you know, what effects using the watered down PVA would have on using paint and glue as an adhesive. So first off, we've got our PVA, and that is nice and solid. It's a nice solid green, exactly as we expected. Now when it comes to just the paint, you'll notice it's a bit browner, and not just where I rubbed, but generally all over it. Okay, let me bring that up for you. Yeah, and that's because it's thinned with the PVA. Yeah, so it still looks good. I mean, that bit there is where I rubbed it off, but generally it still looks good, and it is, you know, really tough. Yeah, so it's viable. Yeah, and then finally what we've got is the PVA and what you call it, and paint mix. Now that's much thicker than this one. This one seems to have gone down in one thin layer. This has got a much thicker coating, yeah, and if I bring it up to the camera, yeah, you see that? It's much nicer, yeah, far less patchy. It is slightly darker than this one, if you notice. Just slightly. Yeah, but I can see it here. You know, this is far more green than these two are. So obviously the paint has carried into the flock a little and just tinted it a little. Yeah, that's what I'm guessing has happened there. Okay, but overall, yeah, definitely. If you're doing larger areas, then using paint as an adhesive, if you're going to seal it, works really well. But personally, I'd recommend using paint and a little bit of PVA for a really good seal, for really good adhesion, and then water down what you call it, PVA, to seal it. Now I know I keep banging on about these experiments, and to be truthful, I've only got one more to do. Yeah, James Evans, one of my subscribers, sort of suggested that I should look into what you call it, using varnish for sealing what you call it, for sealing flocking. So I've got some on order, and I'm going to have a look at that as well. So that'll probably be next week or something like that. Thanks for sticking with me through all this. As always, yeah, like if you've liked it, share it with a mate if you think that you know someone who's going to be interested in this. Yeah, if you're new to my channel, yeah, check out my other vids, and if you like terrain and all that sort of stuff, subscribe, yeah. If you really want to support what I do, then check out the Patreon link and throw me a buck on that, but there's no pressure on that. Now, Most importantly, I've recently just set up a new Facebook group, yeah, just for gamer builders, i.e. just hobbyists who want to get tips and share their builds and that sort of stuff. No pros, no spamming, yeah, it's a really nice supportive community. We've got about 140 in so far, and what do you call it, loads of pictures, loads of really nice builds. Some off my tutorials, some off others, you know, it's really nice. Yeah, but there's loads of support, and you know, I'm loving it. So if you'd like to check out the Facebook group, it's the Terrain Tutors Terrainiacs, yeah, and if you want a quick link, it's down there in the description. Go check it out, guys. Yeah, come over and say hi. The water's lovely and we're building terrain. It's great. Right, I've got loads of tutorials to crack on with. I've now realised I'm working on 3 hills. Is it 3 hills? No, 2 hills, a swamp, and a way of doing concrete. Well, buildings and that sort of stuff. But anyway, loads of stuff going on. So, you know, I'll see you soon, guys. You have a cracking day, and in the meantime, all the best. Ta-da. Catch you later, guys. I'm rambling. Ta-da.